Should you put your money into a RV or a home? The question is, what kind of life do you want to live? By the end of this podcast, you're going to know exactly whether you want an RV or whether a home is perfect for your needs. There's two different views. One, they've been living in an RV and they're sick and tired of living in an RV because of the space and how small their bathroom, the shower and everything is. And then there's some that are coming in saying, I'm deciding whether I want a house or do I actually want an RV because I just want to travel the world. I want to be close to my kids. And so I think it all comes down to having clarity on what kind of lifestyle do you want.
So a house, no matter what you do to it, it doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter the amount of maintenance it's going to take. It's always going to go up in value.
Another pro would be when you buy a house, you're going to get more space. You're going to get the quality that you're looking for, and it's made for long-term investment. So whether you're living in it or you're renting it out, eventually after hey, you want to move, it can be a rental property, it can be investment property. So a home is going to be a different investment that's going to make you money. I would classify a home as an asset and an RV as a liability because of the value that it increases and decreases over time. It just helps production out back know exactly what your change orders are.
So let's get into it, Kyler. It's going to be an amazing episode. It's crazy. We've been talking about this in the last couple of weeks. And the reason it came all about is because we've had multiple customers come in that actually living their RV life and they're looking for a home. And we have other people that are selling their house and they literally don't know if they want to go for an RV or a tiny home or something, just downsizing. What are your thoughts behind that?
Yeah, I wanted to go into what some RVs, some pros and some cons. We've got a whole list right here of really what's the pros. We'll start with the pros of an RV. The RV gives you freedom to travel, flexible lifestyle, lower upfront costs compared to a home. If you're buying a modular home or a tiny home, your upfront cost is going to be a little bit more. And then RV is great for seasonal living. You can travel, a lot more. You can carry it behind a truck, trailer, and go to Colorado. So there's some pros with an RV. But again, like I'm saying, it's about having clarity about what kind of lifestyle do you want to live. We have tons of customers that come in that, there's two different views. One, they've been living in an RV and they're sick and tired of living in the RV because of the space and how small their bathroom, the shower and everything is. And then there's some that are coming in saying, well, I'm deciding whether I want a house or do I actually want an RV. So because I just want to travel the world, I want to be close to my kids. And so I think it all comes down to having clarity on what kind of lifestyle do you want.
I agree. One of the things that I think it would be awesome if you could own both, right? Because a lot of people,
Ideal.
yeah. I have a customer I was speaking to just a few weeks ago, and he's been living in an RV for 3 years. He says, when I got into the RV, the ideal was be on the road, right? He's like, I was gonna settle for about a week or two and then go to the next spot, week or two, go to the next spot. And that's literally what brought him down here.
Wow.
So he came to they're very they're into this ministry thing.
Yeah.
And they've been going church over church, different areas and different locations. And they came to Texarkana, and a matter of fact, to the church we go to, and that's what actually made them settle. So when they came to this church, they loved it. They're like, hey, let's look for some land around us. And they bought land, 3 acres, I believe. And they've been here for 3 years now. And they're like, you know what? The RV is great, but now we're outgrowing it due to the fact that it's our 100, that's where we live all the time. And now we have so many things that we need a house now, So instead of downsizing, they're actually upsizing in a sense. They actually get into a home. However, he says, the RV will not get rid of it because we still do ministry stuff. So if I wanted to, I could connect it back to the truck and go.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest pro I see when having an RV is literally you connect it, you have everything you need. It's not like you have luggage and you gotta look for a hotel room or anything like that. Everything's hooked on the back of the truck.
Yeah.
That's the biggest pro I see in an RV.
Yeah, I think if a lot of people that go into an RV, they don't think about how small it's actually going to be every day when you're taking a shower. The space, the hallways, it's a condensed spot that, you're living in. Then you don't really realize that until 6 months, a year. And you're like, dang, like this kind of kind of small. But some cons about RV too is when you buy an RV, just like a car, you're gonna depreciate in value versus a pro of a house is you're gonna appreciate over time. Another one is the limited space and storage. If you're bringing an RV in, just the story you've been telling is there's only a certain amount of space that you have, and so you just can't. There's not much room to do it. So really going into what to expect when you're buying an RV is you're going to be limited to space and storage. That's just going to be clear. And then the RV parks, less privacy, less permanence, unless you buy land like your customer or the people that they bought land, they have the privacy and stuff like that. But either way, I think an RV is a great fit depending on if you're clear on what you want, right?
Yes.
If you're clear going ahead, like, hey, this is the only space that I need. I can see myself living in this for maybe a year. And then, hey, we're going to upsize to a house. Like, I'm downsizing from a 3,000 square foot home to maybe an RV. But be aware that, hey, RVs are going to be limited on space.
Yeah.
That's going to be clear, so I think it's great. I love the idea of an RV. If I wanted to travel somewhere and put it behind your truck, I think it's great, depending on what lifestyle you want to live.
Yes. And then something else that he pointed out that I have never thought of is the maintenance on RV is just ridiculous high when you actually live in it. Because
I don't know that.
RVs are actually made for like seasonal living or weekend living, right? So they're actually made for you to live no more than a month. So with that being said, he says when you live in it, you're walking in it, you're moving in it all the time, you're opening stuff and everything. So there's a very high maintenance on it. He says my water heater has gone out 4 or 5 times in the last 3 years. And I was like, well, why? Because we're talking about the differences and stuff. And he's like, well, my water heater is probably a quarter of the size of an actual home's water heater because of the size of an RV. So that thing is made for a certain amount of gallons per minute and all that. Well, when you use it full time, think about it. It's something that is made to be used.
Travel.
You know what I mean? Used
Right.
at a slow pace. It's like, think about it this way. You have a Ford Ranger with the 4-cylinder, and then you're pulling a trailer all the time.
Right. The engine's going to go out.
Eventually, right?
Aspiration's going to go out. Right.
That's kind of the same thing when you see it as an RV mean a full-time living situation.
Right.
You're going to be always maximizing everything you have in it.
Right.
Now, if you connect the trailer to that Ranger every once in a while, right? No big deal.
You're going to be fine.
No big deal. Same concept when it comes to an RV versus a home. Now, at home, that's what it's made for.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's go over some of the home, like what does a home fit, like the pros and cons of a home versus an RV. If, let's say you have a customer coming in, they're on the fence of, hey, do I want an RV or do I want a home? Again, a RV, depending on what lifestyle you want, is a great purchase as long as you can understand that, hey, they're going to depreciate over time. They're limited on space. And they're less of a permanence. They're going to be more maintenance because they're built for vacation, for short-term vacations, versus a home is built to last and to live in. So there's a difference there when you're deciding whether the two. Both are good options depending on if you're clear on exactly the results that you're going to get out of it. So let's get into a home. I got a whole list of them. This is going to be more. We have a lot of more pros and cons of homes, but I'm just going to give you guys a list. First, pros: homes build equity and long-term value. I've owned homes for the last 7 years, and my equity and value have gone up every single year. No matter what the economy was doing, my homes have slowly kept on crawling up, and which is a big thing versus an RV. The value keeps going down, just like a car.
Yeah.
When's the first time you bought a car and the value dropped? Especially drove up a lot.
As soon as you drop on the lot, literally it loses a lot of value. And you know what's crazy? I didn't know this, but I was actually looking into like the RVs and stuff. There's luxury RVs that are
Nice ones.
$300,000, $400,000 RVs. It's insane.
Yeah.
Super luxury, super nice. I mean, like the actors have $1 million RVs,
Yeah.
which is insane. The luxury in them and all that good stuff. But then at the end of the day, like you said, they all lose value. They all lose value. They're a vehicle, So a house, no matter what you do to it, it doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter if the amount of maintenance it's gonna take. It's always gonna go up in value.
You're gonna make money on it if you buy right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna make money, and it's more of a permanent thing. I think when buying, the expectation of another pro would be when you're buying a house, you're gonna get more space. you're gonna get the quality that you're looking for, and it's made for long-term investment. So whether you're living in it or you're renting it out eventually after you're, hey, you want to move, it can be a rental property, it can be investment property. So a home is going to be a different investment that's going to make you money, which is, I would classify a home as an asset and an RV as a liability because of the value that it increases and decreases over time. A house is going to increase over time. A RV is going to decrease in time. So that's a liability versus an asset. So that's another pro and con of that. And again, like I said, RVs are not a bad investment if you can understand what you're getting when you're buying one. So if you're clear that, hey, I know when I'm walking off the lot with that RV and pulling it off the lot, I know that I'm going to lose value. If you're good with that and you can understand that, then it's fine, right? So I think it's just having that expectation of when you're purchasing either one of those, just some clarity for you guys is to understand that.
Yes. Something else to understand on the home side is you're literally when you buy a home, it's something that you could have like for generations, right? An RV is like, I'm gonna buy this on my lifetime.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning it's not gonna be something that you can like leave it to your grandkids or your kids or whatever the case might be. It's not something that's probably gonna live 20, 30 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus a home, it doesn't matter if you buy it now, 40, 50 years from now, you could actually leave it to your grandkids and still be good, and still be making money.
Right.
And this can and RVs, I was actually talking to a guy that owns an RV park, and he says, I have had tenants living in my RV park because it's cheaper to live in, right? I think he charges $525 a space, and everything is included except electricity. The electricity is the only thing that it's paid different. So he says maybe electricity another extra $100. So he says in this day and age they're paying about $650 in rent. However, most of my tenants, he says the one that's been here for the longest is 12 years. That tenant has gone through 3 RVs
Wow.
in 12 years. So it's like, okay, just put it in prospect. Well, every 4 years he's renewing an RV. So every 3 or 4 years he's spending anywhere from $40,000 to $80,000 on the RV he's buying. You know? So it's like, okay, well, it depends. Do you want that? Do you want to be renewing a home or a place where you live every 4 years? Is that what you would like, or not?
So basically, what I'm hearing what you're saying is there's a lower upfront cost for an RV in the short term, and then upfront for a house that's more of an upfront cost for a home, but lesser down the road versus RV, lower upfront, costs more down the road.
Yes.
Home is more upfront in the first, but it gets cheaper because you're going to pay off that home, but it's still going to be in good shape because it's how it's built, the quality, stuff like that. So that's a great analogy. Like the amount, RV, I don't know how much, I've never bought an RV, so I don't, but the amount of money that you'd have to put down probably wouldn't be that much versus a home.
I mean, an RV is very similar to like a high-end vehicle, let's say a truck right now. You'd be looking at anything on average from 65 to about $100,000 in a nice RV, something decent.
Yeah.
Right? Now, like I said, there's very high-end RVs. Now, if you want to get something under 50,000, it's obviously going to be used. It's probably not in the best condition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just depends what you're looking for.
Right.
But now, considering that you could buy a house, let's say a 1,200 square foot house with porches, decks, and everything, you're looking at about $200,000, which is not bad. You know, that's like the biggest solution we've been looking at as far as as everything. We had a guy 2 weeks ago come in. His dad overpaid for a barn door. I know this kind of up subject, but he said the barn door crisis where we're at right now, everybody wants to buy a barn door because they're cheap, because they sell just the shell. Well, fully finished out, he says his dad overpaid $100,000 more of what he had got quoted in the beginning, right?
Wow.
So when we gave him, I believe he bought a 20 by 60, which is a 1,200 square foot, and all in, he did a couple of luxury, like super luxury things in their home and everything. He's at about 212, right? Like turnkey, ready to live in it.
Right.
And he says, dude, as soon as he heard that price, he was writing the check faster than he could. You know what I mean? And I was like, it surprised me. But he was telling me his story about the barn door, and then he was also saying that, like, okay, the route I was gonna go was like, I was in three different things. I was gonna do a site build, just a regular side build, I was between a barn door, and then the next thing is like maybe like what do they call it? Like the big mobile homes or whatever, the new ones,
Double wide.
like a double wide. He says the double wides, I don't like the quality. He says the barn doors, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be overpriced. Well, and I do a stick build, and now I need to pay extra money because he's in the middle of nowhere. So he's
Contractors and everybody together.
yeah. So the contractors are gonna charge him an extra like $250 a day for his guys to go out there because he's in the middle of nowhere. So they need to pay hotels, they need to pay all this. So when he came down and he checked out our homes, he's like, "No, dude, like this is the way to go." It was crazy. I've never seen someone write a check for $212,000 so fast.
Yeah, because he wanted the high quality, he wanted the speed, and he wanted I think he wanted the surety that, hey, my price isn't gonna go up. I'm getting a contract, I'm locking myself in. My home costs, I know my upfront cost is more, but I know that this is all that I'm gonna spend.
Yeah.
Because it sucks when you go buy something and you have to start fixing it up. You have to put more money in. Of course, if you buy a used RV or a home, normally if you buy a used home, there's going to be some upgrades that you want to do versus buying a brand new home through a facility that we have modular. You can order what you want, and you know that if it's 212,000, hey, this is the price that it's going to be, and that just gives you uh some confidence in purchasing and making a better decision for you and your family. And I think it all comes down to, whether is an RV better than a home or is a home better than an RV. I think it comes all down to having clarity for what's best for you and your family.
Yes. And I think that one of the biggest things that I've caught all through all these situations and talking to so many people is people want freedom. Like they want a peace of mind. Like they don't want to be thinking of what if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if they're charging you too much? What if, you know what I mean? There's so many what ifs. And most of the people that I talk to is they're ready to live a peaceful life. So it depends. Clarity is number one, and the outcome, your desired outcome, is the biggest thing, right?
What's the lifestyle that you want?
What do you want at the end of the day? What do you want? Because the guy with the 3 acres that has an RV now, he says, "I'm sick and tired of fixing little things." He says little things, right? Like that water heater going out. He says, I bought the first one, and then after that, I have lifetime warranty. It cost me no money to go and replace it. But you know what does cost me, he says? I get pretty mad when I'm in the shower and it's not working. Now I have to come out here, remove it, take it to the Home Depot, get it replaced, come back, put it back on. He says, I spend a lot of anger, one, and I spend a lot of time. He says, I don't want to be doing either or. I want to be with my grandkids. I want to be enjoying my life. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do you want? So it just, that's exactly what you should be asking yourself. If you're ready to move forward, it's like, okay, what do I really, really want? What do I truly, truly desire? Besides the money, besides everything else, what do I truly want? Do I want freedom, or do I want to put myself in a bind and have more problems? That's what happens to a lot of us, you know?
Yeah. And I think hopefully this episode helps you out making a decision, because I believe the decision is one of the most important things that you can do for you, for your family, and for you to figure out, hey, having some clarity going forward. Do I want an RV for a lifestyle? Because this is a lifestyle. And I want to travel a lot. I want to be with my grandkids. Or do you want something more permanent that's going to create a legacy for you and your family? And if that's so, hey, go over to our website, www.saddlebrooklife.com, or you can see all of our social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as well. You can see what product that we build. And like I said, this podcast was for you guys to help you make a decision and between an RV or a home. And neither one are bad. Both have pros and cons. A home has a pro and a con, and an RV has a pro and a con. So hopefully you guys, this helps you out making a decision, because I believe that's the number one thing that you have to do in order to create a legacy, is make a decision for you and your family.
Yes. And if you're anything like me, just buy both.
Yeah, buy 2 of them. You can buy both. Hey, God's a good God. If you buy both, then buy both, because then you have something that's permanent and it increases over time. And then you have a liability, but you can create memories with your family. So,
Yes. Have a
great, guys. Thank you guys for listening to the Tiny Home Podcast. We'll see you on the next.